Sadly, the owner of this 1960s cylinder mower ran it low on oil. In today's video, we're going to see what it takes to get this machine back up and running, how far we have to dig inside the engine, and see just what's involved in getting an engine that's ran low on oil back up and running as it should be. Let's just see how much oil is left inside the crankcase. Ideally, it should be to the end of these threads, so you don't actually have to measure your oil out when you're filling up these flatheads. Pour oil in until it comes out to the top of the threads, you know you've got a good oil level. In this case, it's actually right at the bottom of the threads, which isn't terrible, but it's certainly not ideal. And it is currently fully locked up. That's not going anywhere. So I think what we'll do, let's put some oil back into the crankcase. We'll take this cover off, oil in through the top end, through the spark plug hole, and we'll gently try and get a bit of movement through with a spanner on the starter, just to see if we can ease it past that stuck point. And just to put a little bit of top end lubrication in there, we'll take out the spark plug, which was already loose, and we will pop some oil in there as well. Again, just 4-stroke. Ooh, look at this. That looks like it's been burning oil for a little while, and I think there's a bit more to the story than what we've been told. But that's okay. We'll keep digging and we'll keep finding. Ah, it's sticky. There we go. See if we can get through a full rotation. There we go. Here we go. Let's get the cover back on and we'll see if we can get it to kick with a bit of fuel down the spark plug hole. Feels like it's smoothed up a lot. I don't hear any knocking as well. I'll pull it over firmly a few times with a rag over the top, catch any oil, and then we will pop a bit of fuel in there and see if we can get it to kick. One of you guys want to hold this? Oh yeah, we got spark. This is an electronic ignition, 1983, so it's obviously more likely to have spark than what it would be if it was points, which I think they changed in like 78, was it? 77? Let me know in the comment section when Briggs went from points to electronic ignition. Let's put a bit of fuel down here and we'll see if we can get it to run. Actually getting a little bit of smoke already out of the muffler. Oh. She runs. Doesn't sound bad either. What's your guess? Do you think that it will just constantly keep smoking? We've damaged or scratched the bore? Who knows? Let's have a quick look inside the fuel tank actually, because there is a chance, even though it's not likely because this is a diaphragm carb, it's got a fuel pump in it, and after a while they tend to go bad. But let's have a quick look inside the fuel tank. And being an optimist, I've got a jerry can of fuel out here with me. Well, it's certainly not rusty. Of course there is some debris in there, but that's not bad at all. Doesn't smell bad either. Smells all right. Maybe we got a chance. I've had that running for about 20 minutes now, and it's not clearing up. Oh, we didn't damage the head gasket. There's a lot of oil in there, so it's not surprising it's smoking like it is. Yeah, there's certainly some scoring in there, but nothing horrendous. I thought it'd be a lot worse than that. I really did. I can barely even catch my nail on it. It feels really smooth. Maybe it's the rings. Maybe the rings had gotten too hot and they've lost their temper and now they're not stopping the oil. It could be that. Maybe it's a combination of both. I think what we're going to have to do anyway, especially with the condition of the valves and the amount of carbon all over it, we're going to take the engine off. We're going to take it apart. We're going to hone the bore. We'll have a look at the rings, check ring end gap, and see what we find as we dig in. So it's just 4 bolts holding, oh, that one's off, the engine onto the mower. We have 1 grub screw, which we need to take off. And now this should slide out. Need to go get a hammer. It's a bit stiff. This isn't the original engine on here, so it has come off at some point. As for when, I don't know. Are we missing another grub screw? No, we're not. A little bit of penetrating fluid. Have to be a bit careful because we have a crankshaft oil seal here and we don't want to get that too hot. Just enough to break that rust that's probably holding it in place. Bit more ATF. I want to try and avoid it going onto the paintwork because acetone will damage that paint quite quickly. As I said, I just want to be careful with that clutch because yeah, we really don't want to burn anything. Looks like it's actually coming out of the clutch drum itself, like the clutch is, the whole unit's pulling out, which is all really strange because they shouldn't be joined anyway. The idea is that they're separate, so I don't quite understand. But anyway, we'll keep going. Hopefully I'll be able to pull that whole thing out and we can see exactly what's going on. Hey, there it is. Ah, it's on a bearing, that makes sense. Oh well, that's good. We'll clean that bearing up and then I'll be able to press it back in place. And hopefully we shouldn't have any issues, but this clutch needs to come off the crankshaft to be able to take anything apart. What I'll do, I want to get a puller on it, but I don't really want to pull right on this metal. So I'll put this behind, which is just a bearing puller, and hopefully that will put a little bit less pressure on everything. Nice, I didn't damage anything. I don't think that was coming off anytime soon, was it? It's a little trick I learnt from Musty One. Use wire cutters to get it off. Bite into it. There you go, get it out. I'll also clean up the inside of that as well, so the crankshaft slides on it, and I'll use a little bit of anti-seize on there. I'll clean that pocket up. This is just brake cleaner. It's not so bad on paint, brake cleaner. You do this with carb cleaner and you'll end up taking the paint off. So let's be a bit careful with it. So I'm just going to warm that pocket up. Once it's nice and warm, I'll then slip it in and might have to just tap it home with a hammer and that should be just fine. That's it, done. Lovely. I guess this is the true test as to the real damage that's occurred from running it low on oil. That looks awfully like fragments of metal, doesn't it? Could just be air bubbles. Oh, look at that, there's a lot of metal in there, isn't there? I guess kind of what we expected, right? It's not really that much of a surprise. Well, the first thing I want to get off is that petrol tank and the carburetor. That'll give me a lot of space. It's very much a case of hit and miss as to whether these actually come off. Ah! sometimes they won't come off at all. Other times they'll take a good fight, but that one came off really nicely. That's good. Ah! Oh, finger. That's lovely. Good. Okay. Right. Let's get the fuel tank out of the way. And that's only held on with 3 screws. So we'll get in here. That comes off. Oh, that was actually quite loose. That's not a good start. That was loose too. Yeah, these are horrible. I think there is a special screwdriver or tool or something to tighten these up. Let me know in the comments. I swear I've heard of it before. But anyway, I'll digress. Now this is only an educated guess, but that's probably why I had running issues and it was stalling at kind of part throttle when there was a bit of load put on it. It could have been that. Who knows? And now this muffler that I loosened off earlier. You come out first. Oh, you're going to have to come off too. Try and save this gasket, and it has to go back in the right orientation, and that is the little notch on this cover has to go down. Okay. The notch should be somewhere down here, but we can't see it at the moment. There it is. So just for future reference, that little notch there, and I think there's one more here. Yeah, there is. There and there, they're actually the oil returns, or the oil return galleys. So bear that in mind. Don't put it on the other way, because oil will then not be able to return out back into the crankcase. Don't mix these up. These ones around the exhaust are slightly longer. It's these 3, I think. Yeah. The rest of them are shorter. Hey, I think we got it. Yeah, it didn't rip. They should now come out really nicely. Tappets will come out. One in my hand is the exhaust. Oh, I got the other one too. There's certainly scuffing on there. I'll have to measure it. I know I'm wearing a glove, but I actually can't feel it. It's probably okay. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, look. It's looking worse and worse, isn't it? It's actually really easy to clean the galling off. I'll use acid. Actually though, the big end looks really good. Look at that. That looks amazing. So I spent an hour or so yesterday evening going over each and every part, cleaning it up, removing the carbon, and now we can actually look at things nice and clearly together. The skirt is pretty scuffed up. I actually don't think that's going to be an issue at all. I will remove the high spots with a file, but yeah, kind of, I suppose, what's to be expected with the lack of lubrication. The rings actually don't look terrible by any stretch of the imagination. And I will test ring end gap, but it's quite possible that they've lost their temper, that spring. So we'll see. Anyway, that's that. Camshaft next. This shouldn't be too bad. Again, this is right where the oil is, right in the oil sump. That looks absolutely fine. No damage to the teeth. Oh, actually, that's a good point. I did notice that yesterday. There is some scoring and scuffing there. Again, I'll go over that. That will probably be quite quick and easy to remove any of those little high spots. I can't actually, again, catch it with my nail. And then we have the crankshaft on the flywheel side is actually a lot worse than the PTO side. And that's the PTO side. You'd think there'd be more damage there. But anyway, there's not. I'll go over that with some Scotch-Brite, clean it up and remove some of the oxidation, the rust that was on there. This side there is aluminium transfer, but the crankshaft main journal is actually really good. It looks incredible. And I guess maybe because that comes low each time near the pool of oil. And then we've got the PTO side bearing. There's a few scratches in there, but again, nothing horrendous. And again, it wasn't bad on the actual crankshaft itself. I think I'll actually probably leave that. I'll just double check there's no high spots in there, but I think that's going to be absolutely fine. So I won't touch that. And last but not least, the cylinder. Yeah, that's scratched and scored. I will go over that with a hone. It's really not that bad. Yes, look, I can feel scoring and scratching, but I think the hone will take care of that. And then, of course, we have the flywheel side bearing, which is the worst of everything. And there you can see there's a lot of damage. And I will either go over with Scotch-Brite or I might go over with a utility knife, like a Stanley blade, and scrape that smooth to get rid of any of the high spots. Because that's pretty bad. That's the worst of the lot. It's going to be quite hard to see, but there's aluminium scraping there, aluminium scraping there. Nothing in the middle. The middle is actually where the scoring took place. So that means I'm actually now taking away either side of the scoring, meaning that I've gotten rid of those high points. So I think I'll have a double check and I'll leave it there. I know it's quite hard to believe, but actually it's kind of getting pretty darn smooth, which is great. As I said, not ideal, but actually none of that is actually high spots anymore. So if anything, that's going to act for a place for oil to collect. So the bore size, maximum bore size, is 60.3 millimeters. So I'll take a few measurements and we'll get a good idea as to where we are. Start at the top in the thrust direction. That's 60.31. So the good news is we're actually within specification in 90 degrees to thrust side here. We are 0.03 millimeters over size in thrust direction, which is kind of to be expected. In fact, it's better than what I'd thought. And Briggs actually give you a slight tolerance of up to 0.08 before you need to bore the engine out. So I think we're going to just be fine with going with cast iron rings, a quick hone, and I think that's going to stop our oil consumption issue. I see a lot of people go in there and go really fast with the drill and slowly up and down, and they're not actually getting a crosshatch at all. This is actually probably more than 45 degrees, but I'll accept it. I'm not a professional. Just a guy working in his home, trying to do the best he can do. Good. Well, it's the next day, and it's given me an opportunity to think about how I want to proceed with the repair. Do I want to get new rings? Will it still burn oil because of the scoring in the bore? I actually spent a lot more time honing, and I also reduced that angle. It was about 55-degree crosshatch. I brought it down to about 45-ish, which is much better. I thought, shall I just put a new engine on there? But then that kind of defeats the purpose of this whole video. So I've decided, I've made the executive decision. We are going to get new rings and we'll place those in and we'll rebuild it. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. Fingers crossed. However, in the meantime, while we wait for that to come through, I'm going to lap the valves. The seats are actually really good, and the face on the intake is actually very good, but the face on the exhaust, yeah, it's not the best. So I'll certainly lap the exhaust and then I'll make my mind up on the intake. But the intake actually seems really, really good. So let's get on with that now. That looks good. Happy with that. And I'll just finish off with a bit of brake cleaner. This whole block has got to be washed really well because I've obviously gone over with the stone hone, but this will help to loosen up any of that remaining abrasive at least. The last thing we need to do is to take off this transfer. It's just aluminium transfer from the bearing, and it's only on the flywheel side. The power takeoff side is a bit scratched, but actually it looks to be in very good condition. And the big end journal is absolutely fine as well. And my preference for removing transfer, especially in circumstances where clearances are so key, is to actually use acid. You have to be so careful with this, and I'm wearing gloves, and I'm going to have the window open. And it's just a quick way of doing it without removing any of the steel. Of course, you can go over here with some sandpaper and you would do the same job, but the abrasive paper will actually start to remove some of this steel and it may cause a bit of a clearance issue. In this case, I'm using these jumbo cotton swabs, and all I'm going to do is wet the end of it. I'm going to gently wipe it onto the aluminium transfer and you'll see it will start to bubble. To get this acid to work effectively, it has to be degreased. The surface has to be nice and clean. You see it's starting to bubble up there, starting to fizz up. There we go, job's done. And as you can see, all the aluminium transfer has been removed. There is a bit of flash rusting where it's got a bit wet, but that's fine. I can wipe that off with an oily rag. And as you can see, I haven't changed the diameter of the crankshaft by sanding or filing anything away. Sandpaper, the one that I typically use, is silica carbide, incredibly hard, almost as hard as diamond. And so if we can avoid using that where possible, then that's a good thing. So all that's left now is put some new parts on. I couldn't wait to dig into these, but I waited because I had a few things I had to get done first. I'm going with some aftermarket rings. We'll see how they go. From Tecumseh. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of them before. And yeah. So time to rebuild this engine. Everything's been really nice and cleaned and oiled and dried, and now it's all that's left is to get this put back together. Oh, here's the moment of truth. Ah, screwdriver. That should work. I forgot to take the one that I normally do. Right, let's get it warmed up and let's see what happens. So, we are choke. I need the cable attached, but that's right, we'll work without it. There we go. A bit more fuel. Look at that, humming along beautifully. Couldn't ask for more than that, could you? It's not smoking. Just to ease future disassembly, I'm going to put some anti-seize on the crankshaft, and I recommend that anyone that uses anti-seize does so with extreme caution, because before you know it, if you're not careful, you'll end up looking like the Tin Man. Well, it's coming along. It's a soaking wet day, so it's certainly not ideal, but I'm going to go get a catcher. I'm going to go get a bag and empty that out, and we'll carry on from there. The rain's just finished now, but the job's done, and the mower cuts great. It goes to full throttle, goes all the way down to idle. Clutch disengages as well. There's no smoke. It starts first pour every time. Can't ask for more than that. And if you like old engines, I've got this 1940s to 1950s Villiers Mark 10 that I did a full restoration on. This is the reveal. I hope you enjoy it. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.